Should be able to see me in that picture. I'm the red, orange, and yellow guy, so I'll move around a minute. So sorry, Floyd, but that means I'm the hottest thing inside the picture. It's a great bridal party joke. It works every time. But literally, we're looking for blue and black spots to start moving on their own or taking shape on their own. So with this, like, this guy is super cool. Do I capture something with this every night? I don't. However, if we're not recording, we won't. So it's just that simple. I will tell you I capture about 4 to 6 very solid pieces of this every single year that I've been using it. So it's been about 4 or 5 years now. But this year alone, I've already caught 2, like very specific body shapes in blue. Darkest part on the person is the face. Like, it's crazy stuff. So again, this is a pretty unique type experience just to be able to use this video camera itself. But I think what's weird is I'm going to put both video cameras in the same party. Like, you already seem like you're kind of hip to this technology, so I'm like, yeah, let me go with this guy. Woo. Got the whole crew tonight.
Yeah. They've been riding around.
I will tell you, when you guys get your video back from this, there is a blue dot that's bouncing around the screen. It's giving you the coldest spot in the frame at that moment. I have it set up that way on purpose. It's going to help direct your eye when you're watching the video. The great thing about both of these videos is they're going to go to YouTube. So that way you can watch them however you want to, on your TV, your phone, your tablets, your computers, whatever you want to. So again, when they're on a much bigger screen, like I watch them on a pretty large computer screen. So in real yeah. So even in real time, like sometimes it can be difficult to actually see things in real time, especially since we don't want to stop the recording and go back and double check. Like, we want to keep moving on. So you're going to hold that horizontal all night long. You can treat it just like a cell phone. It is a construction phone, so it can take a little bit of, a little bit of damage. So when I say we're going to do a few starts and stops with yours, only because the software sucks for that program. So if we record for too long, we lose all footage, and I don't want to do that. So I will give you that starts and stops. When we start it, make sure you're in that horizontal position with the wiring to your left before you hit that start button again.
Cool.
Spirit boxes.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you, just for your sheer excitement, I actually use, when I have a full team out here, we use 5 different types of spirit boxes, and they all do something a little bit different. But for the sake of the size of our group, I'm going to go after everything that records. So with this particular spirit box, if you're unfamiliar with them,
I am unfamiliar with everything.
This is going to sweep through FM radio stations at a very quick rate. On TV shows, it's normally just white noise kind of stuff, and then your host will tell you the bullshit he thinks he heard and put it on the middle of the screen for you to try to convince you of the same thing. We're going to be doing this in real time. So this one, now I will tell you that the voices they think they hear in real time, most of them, they have to tell you what it says in order for you to say, oh, I can hear
Understand
that.
it.
Yeah. Those are like Class B to Class C, possibly even Class G, which is garbage. So that's basically what we call them in the field. So I usually only go after Class A when it comes to disembodied EVPs like that, coming through white noise only. So I slowed these down. First off, none of you are used to listening to white noise for 2 hours at a time. So I want the radio chatter to come through.
Well, the salon is white noise. So it's 8 hours at a time.
So with these being slowed down, the radio chatter is going to come through. I want it to come through. So I want Susan to be able to tell me whatever DJ, song, lyric, or commercial she hears. So if she hears Buy a Kia Today, I want to know that she heard Buy a Kia Today. I'm going to be writing all of what you hear down in real time. However, this one is going to record the entire session for us. In fact, it's already recording right now. You will get the entire recording back tomorrow morning with about 15 to 20 more markers on top of whatever Susan heard in real time. If it's relevant, I will tell you why, based on the location of where we are, a person in history we're discussing, or even something going on with one of you, because sometimes you people bring folks with you. And then I will always give you a backlink to be able to verify that information like I mentioned earlier. So again, if it's relatable to Big John's, I'm going to give you the backlink to be able to verify that reason why. You're going to have an earbud in. Are you comfortable with that? Yeah. Okay. So you're going to have to untie the earbuds, and then your volume button is right here. It's a wheel. So you'll control the volume however you want to. You cannot mess with the recording because it records even and it does not record outside noise. So again, you listen to it at will, whatever you want to. Most people just keep one earbud in so that way you can hear me too and just play with the volume.
Right.
And I don't want earbuds back. Your earwax is gross. No offense. And to keep you busy and occupied.
And the easiest, I hope.
I'm going to give you my multitask.
Jesus. Okay.
You'll be fine.
Okay.
This is an easy one. So I will tell you that for those of you that watch the TV shows, these are pretty common, right? You guys have seen these before. K2 meters, little blinky lights. So this is the upgraded version. It's supposed to buzz when it actually goes off. You can't hear it outside, so the extra $10 was a waste. That was, and I normally hand that to the kids of the tour, just so you guys know. I like to point that out first because this is a millimeter. So this is going to measure the same type. It's going to measure electromagnetic fields. So any type of cell phone signal, wiring, buildings, that kind of thing, it's going to pick up on some of those signals. Anything above a 2.5 on the big numbers, I want to know what's going on. We're going to debunk first and kind of see what's going on. But again, the 2.5 specifically is because that's the second green dot on that device I just put back in my bag. So normally when I have them both out, I can kind of compare and see what's actually happening. The bottom number is ambient temperature being measured by this yellow probe. In the event Floyd finds something on his camera, you and I can prove it or debunk it just by going to find that cold spot, seeing if it's coming from something man-made. The last thing that it has, and we don't always use this because it can be distracting for me at least. This is what we call a motion meter or REM pod. So I might say, let's go ahead and turn off that motion meter just because you're not used to the lingo, which is perfectly fine. If something gets close to that antenna, it's going to go off. And right now it's probably getting a little bit of signal from the wiring that's underneath our sidewalks, but essentially if something gets close, it's going to go off. The closer it gets, obviously the higher the pitch, and we have different colors in there. Notice I have it pointed down because it's super bright. So I'm going to turn that part off. We'll talk more about that at our first location. All you have to do is let me know what numbers pop up there above 2.5.
This is my
For me, I'm going to be using a different type of spirit box altogether. So this one is going to work like an ovulus that you guys see on television. So an ovulus basically spits out words from time to time. So this is a phone app. So there are over 9,000 terms in this dictionary. Now, an ovulus on television, what they actually use for ghost hunting, only has 2,048. I have almost 5 times that amount in here. So it's going to save all those words to a list.
Right.
You've probably seen this app before.
Yeah.
Now, this actually gave us 103 terms last night. What's funny is one of the guests said, that's going to give us 103 terms. I'm like, there's no way. He guessed it on the dot. So I'm going to clear out last night and start us off fresh. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. This is a phone app. 80% of this is going to be bullshit. It's not going to mean anything. So it's the other 5 to 20% that's going to be relevant to our location, the person, one of us. So same principle. So I'm going to just keep this in my back pocket, pull it out from time to time, kind of see where we're at with things. I do love this because it gives me timestamps. If something does come up that's relevant, I know where to listen to the regular audio, and I know where to watch the videos. So that way I can kind of tie things up and kind of see where...
Am I supposed to hear, like, if it is an extra, like a spirit, does it sound like a voice? Because this has a lot of nonsense going on here.
Yeah.
I want you to listen for the radio. We're using the radio for them to convey messages back.
Okay.
If you happen to find a disembodied voice in real time, which is super rare, that's meaning it's going to sound like going over many radio stations, over all those clicks, those are hard to come by.
Okay.
Now, if the DJ says, buy it now, or let's listen in, I want to know that you heard buy it now and let's listen in. Because one of those words might be a key word to where we are.
Okay, got it.
You see where I'm going?
Yes.
Okay, so if it says, welcome to Big John's, obviously it's a relevant term because we're next to Big John's.
Right,
So
okay.
we're going to talk more about that at the first stop.
Do our cell phones do anything with this? Like, are we okay to leave them on, or should
You're
we?
perfectly fine to leave them on. I actually encourage you guys to take pictures throughout the night. So that way,
Don't take pictures.
in the event you guys actually capture something and you want me to check it out, my wife actually does all of the photography and graphic design work for the company. So we can always dive into things, prove things, debunk things. Her day job used to be where she was the cell phone manager for Best Buy, and she went to school for photography and graphic design. So again, she knows pretty much every cell phone camera out there. So if I send her something, I need to know what kind of camera phone you have, so that way she can tell me what's going on with it.
Right.
So let's talk about why we started here. Questions, comments, or concerns so far? You guys are gonna be an easy group. So, Big John's, that's why we're here. It's haunted, of course it is. So that's the reason why I like to, I'm also going to stay out of the way of the other tours. We're probably not going to run into the other tours on a Sunday night, but just know that if we do, they might be in large groups of 20. We just stay out of their way. We're hunting, they're telling stories, and moving on. So, Big John's. This place used to be owned by a football player, 1947 New York Giants player, Big John Kennedy. I will also tell, because both of you have the cameras,
The whole building just turned blue.
people do not like to be filmed, and they don't like their cars to be filmed. So it's okay to be kind of at an angle, if you just want to kind of shimmy it off to the side while you guys are, filming the bar, but you don't need to be the YouTuber. Right. So people get a little weirded out. They don't know what the hell we're doing. But anyway, this was Big John's bar. He used to sit in the back of the bar and tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. So he has the bartender throw them out, and they leave pretty pissed off. They come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on. He slams down his beer. He gets up, and he goes over and just starts beating the hell out of these guys, just pounding them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets grazed in the neck, and the bullet lands behind him in the wall in the front of the bar. John gets up, after being shot no less, goes back to the bar, tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor, and ambulance. So, the irony of the story is you don't mess with Big John, you can get shot and still kick your ass. The second moral of the story is you guys normally think of a haunting as somebody that's died in this place. This did not occur here. So what's haunting the place? The bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. So people that tend to, even if the new renovation of Big John's that we're now looking at filled it in, Big John's blood is still here. So people that tend to sit in the front of this bar will get headaches, nausea, dizziness, that kind of thing. Really light symptoms. This is kind of your heated warning. We're going to be ghost hunting tonight, looking for this stuff. I don't know how it's going to affect you. I don't know what's going to happen tonight. The ghosts are not on the payroll. So I will tell you, in the 3.5 years I've been giving this tour, I've yet to have a night where something didn't happen. So, I mean, not meaning somebody got hurt, but actual evidence. But do I know how it's going to affect you? I don't. So if you start to feel any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately so we can move the whole group and get that person to safety. Is that fair?
Yep.
That's this.
What are the symptoms? Nausea?
Headache, nausea, dizziness, pounding of the chest. That happens all the time too. So again, let's just be safe about it. No reason to be stupid. So, have you guys taken any other Charleston history tours?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so yeses and no's. So every tour will tell you about the big earthquake of 1886, right?
Yes.
So this is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The earthquake is an anomaly for us because this is the East Coast. We're not supposed to have earthquakes.
Right.
So a piece of the mantle that you see in the middle of the building also wraps around the front. A piece of it broke off during the earthquake, struck somebody in the back of the head, and apparently it killed them. And they say you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I say apparently and allegedly a lot with that story because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour as I brought it up again. So that's the whole reason why I tell that story is so that there's like, oh my god, I'm sick. What have I signed up for? Let's go something. What do you say, Cammy? You ready? She's like, yes, I'm ready.
Let's do it. Oh.
She gave the shit out of me.
Told you I wouldn't mess with you. So, welcome to the Big Red Barn Lot. I want you guys to think of your entire time with me as kind of a ghost hunting 101. So, you're unlucky, Londa, because I keep things nice and simple, and we're going to progress throughout the night. So, this space is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. So, in the summertime, you can definitely smell them. Well, you guys can. I'm pretty much immune to it. But anyway, every day. The history here is really simple. So, I did it that way on purpose because when I have my group of 10, it gives me a chance to show 10 people how to use 10 different devices. So, the history here. This is where we kept horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Whenever I'm giving you the history of the location, I will slow down on keywords specifically for the spirit boxes, just because we have two of them in play tonight, the one I'm using and the one Susan's using, but this way she kind of has a gist of what she's listening for. For example, Big John's, the keyword you should have been listening for were 47, New York, Big John's, anything relatable to a bar. So those are the things that I would be looking for. In this space, I said the words delivery, milk, and eggs. So let's talk about those spirit boxes. So spirit boxes, because you guys are going to be getting the audio back tomorrow morning, and that way you guys know what you're listening for. This is not a Ouija board. This is not television. This is not, is somebody here? Right? Because that's what everybody wants to ask. If somebody answers no, that means somebody's here. So we don't ask yes and no questions all night long. Now with us, being a group of 5 tonight, we're probably going to be sticking together. I don't see us spreading apart. When I normally have my group of 10, I say spread out, let's have some fun. We're probably not going to do that tonight. We're going to stick together. So that way we can all ask questions together, and Susan's going to spit out the answers. So, with questions in a space like this, which I'm just going to put it out there, I would normally tell my folks, let's ask questions like something we already know the answer to, just so we can get used to what we're listening for. If somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Now, obviously, we're going to be looking, because I have a word list, and listening for the color red. However, the DJs and song lyrics might not have the word red in a vocabulary to be able to answer back. Fire truck, blood, heart. Those 3 things are specifically red. take that as an answer. However, most of the night, if something is going on, I want something else to kind of verify it, unless it's a direct answer, like what I just told you. For example, let's say I have the word art shows up on my word list, and Susan hears the number 40. Neither one of those terms mean anything by themselves. Put them together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Do you see where I have to put these clues together? So again, normally I like to have lots of spirit boxes going. But again, with the group of 4 and testing on a new camera, we're kind of trimming things up a little bit. So a lot of these stories tonight are going to have people with the same names, lots of Charleses and Georges. We're talking 17 and 1800s. So just kind of expect that, like, that's okay. Let's see what else pops up with it to be able to verify it. Cameras, go ahead and point them both at me. Let's kind of go through these. So with yours, obviously I would say, I'm looking for things outside the circle, but that's not there anymore. So for yours specifically, you're really looking for anomalies to be able to move through there. I would, kind of debunk a lot of bugs when I'm going through the video, and I do a lot of freeze frame to see the pattern, how big is it, how fast did it move, those kind of things. If I see something nice and slow and big moving through, I'm going to freeze frame it frame by frame and give you still shots. So yours is really easy, just because you're just a point and shoot all night long. Go ahead and turn around so you can actually turn the camera around so you can see the front of it. I want you to see how many LEDs are actually on this thing. Now I want you to, here, I'll hold it. How about that? So we have 4 going on right here, 2, so we're up to 6, and then 4 more. So that's why your whole screen is purple. So in the event somebody gets too close, I used to tell people, go ahead and just turn this short range one off, but then you still got these 4 working for you. It's hard to find a switch, so we're just going to keep all 10 running and kind of see how things go. Your battery will not die, because I'm sure you noticed that there's a battery pack strapped on there pretty good. I got tired of changing batteries halfway through the tour, so you're just point and shoot. As far as yours goes, Floyd, you're going to try to do 2 things for us tonight. You're going to try to keep one of us in view. You're going to not shoot other people if possible, especially if they're going to their vehicles. Right. So we'll talk about that in a second. But the reason why is because we're going to be the warmest thing out here. It gives us an array of color in that screen. The other thing you're going to try to do is keep the sky out of view. The reason being is because the blue dot will default to the blue sky, or the empty sky, because it's looking for a surface, and there's not one there. So again, it'll detract from that. Some of those spaces, the sky is going to be impossible to keep out of view. Just try to do your best. Okay. Now, both cameras, just so you know, I might do an Andy's coming kind of mentality, because somebody might be going to their vehicle. You're basically going to be playing with a cell phone. You're going to point yours straight to the ground. So again, people don't like to be filmed. They don't like the cars be filmed. Obviously, I've been screamed at by plenty of people, and I don't like to be screamed at by people that I don't know. Right. So they don't know what you guys are doing, but we're going to have some fun. If I was a car thief, Floyd's camera would be the first thing I would buy, just because I know exactly how long these cars have been here based on its heat signature. So again, it's a beautiful tool. And I actually use it for more than just ghost hunting. Like, I fixed my dryer with it one day, and trying to find where the leak was. So very cool stuff to do. Are we getting the gist of how all of our devices work? We're going to talk about your REM pod at the next space, just because it's more pertinent over there. So have you had any readings come up at all? No. Nothing at all? Nothing. All right, so let me take a look at the word list real quick before we move on. Yeah, I got nothing. So again, 80% of this is bullshit. So again, it's always that one-off. So let's go to the next spot and actually get much deeper history than 20 football players. Which is what you guys came for, right? You don't want to hear about football players. Talks about it for 2 hours and they only go half a mile. This guy talks way too much in one spot.
Words and I heard the word wedding. I heard a bunch of words.
Okay, wedding is good.
I'm trying to listen to you and listen to the video at the same time.
I just thought maybe something else.
Alright, so welcome to another beautiful spot of Charleston, everybody. You're in a parking lot. If you guys don't know where to park by the time I'm done with you, I can't help you. I'm sorry. So this space obviously used to be something, so let's get into it. Spirit box, because I say Spirit box teams. I'm not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the Red Barn. I'm going to withhold information on purpose. So that way everybody kind of has a genuine experience. So with only one spirit box truly in play tonight, which is very odd for me, It's going to be very interesting to see what you hear out of it. Just because that is not an easy job that Susan has. If you've never listened to a spirit box, it's very difficult. I'm asking her to do something with her senses that she's probably never done before. So, very interesting. So where are we? This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. And actually sat in the front of this space. I like to kind of give you the layout first before we dive in. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across to where we're standing over here.
Somerville.
Yeah, that's local. We're going to discount that one. Just like the word Charleston. Don't tell me the word Charleston.
Oh, okay.
You're listening to Charleston radio stations. It's going to
Okay.
pop up.
Oh.
In the back of the space were the servant quarters, servant slave quarters for the home, just so you know, and kind of what the layout of the space is. So who the heck were these people? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. There's 3 Charleses, in case you didn't really count all of those. That's why I need the secondary clues of what's actually going on. So the son and the nephew, they were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a pretty big deal for us, but I hate politics more than you. So let's move on. I have to bring it up. It's important. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. So if we're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, but she's already heard the word wedding, which is very common, and the word marriage. It's
And
not going...
presenting. I heard presenting just now.
Presenting. I am presenting Eliza.
Yeah.
She's amazing. But anyway, it's not going to be like 12 or 14 if we ask her how old she was. It's going to be young according to today's standards. So again, she came from colonial times. 12 and 14 was pretty common. So, I know, it sounds weird and gross, but it is what it is. The reason I bring this up is because Charles, her husband, was over double her age when they got married. So again, if we ask how old they were when they got married, we might hear either number or how long they were married. That's pretty common too. But let's talk about Eliza and why she got married. Her father, over in England, thought he was dying. The father was trying to bring all of his children home one last time so he could see them. Eliza didn't think he was dying, so she stayed put. It's 1744. You didn't marry anybody for a green card or citizenship. We're not even a country yet. So she actually married Charles for love and stayed put to prove her point. Now, her dad didn't die right away, so Eliza was correct. Apologetically, her father starts sending her gifts to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. If you've been in town for more than an hour, you've seen the word indigo somewhere, I promise. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. That's how we use it today. So that's what still makes our blue jeans blue now. Now, when she got it, she didn't know what to do with it, so she had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated in our weird temperatures, because it does get pretty cold here, and it can get super, super hot. So to keep it going all year round, she learned, then moved it to another plantation they owned in Mount Pleasant. Calls her father and says, rice plantations are going downhill, we can make a killing with the indigo. Now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. Pretty big deal. But you guys are all here for the weird stuff, so let's get into that. That's Eliza's business. Let's get into the weird facts about her. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza, back-to-back from Charles, same year. First wife Eliza dies. 5 months later, he marries the one that plants the indigo. Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. If you want to find out which Eliza we're dealing with, ask her her maiden name. And when I say, like, we're going to be asking questions, we have several points of audio. Watch, that's the only way in and out for vehicles, and we're going to be active casual on this point. So with that said, I have an audio, obviously, here, and then your audio isn't super great, but at least we have something there, and we have a point of audio over there. So we can ask questions, and it can go to the spirit box, my audio, or either camera's audio. We never know where it's going to go. That's why I like to run so many different spirit boxes at the same time. So where was it? Oh, the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore. We can ask what happened to it. And then, of course, if we get an answer, then we can ask when that happened. Kind of giving you a clue that it was a tragedy. So kind of keep that in mind. Eliza's children, I told you there's at least one. Yes, there are more. We can ask how many, and then we can ask what their names are. But that's about it. The reason being is there's a tragedy among those kids, and we don't want to poke the bear. Because if we do, all activity will stop. So you might actually have some readings going on by now.
Oh, yeah, 2.6.
2.6.
Within 0.
That's why they call it ghost hunting. They don't stay still.
Okay.
So you're going to see little spikes like that all the time. Usually when I start going with the questions is usually when it starts to spike up a little bit. So where was it? Oh, the kids we already talked about. So Eliza's death is where she's really open. We can ask her how old she was when she died. We can ask what she died from, where she's buried, and what U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. If that doesn't tell you how important that woman was, I don't know what will. Notice that all of the questions I just gave us are non-yes or no questions. So again, we're looking for very specific answers. We've already heard the term wedding, which kind of excites me. That's kind of a vague clue, but at least it's a clue because she knows I'm about to ask about her marriage and how old she was. So again, if we get the actual numbers, I'll be super stoked that both clues are linked together. So have we heard anything before I check the word list? Nothing at all?
Nothing, no. I mean, yes, but nothing like...
Yeah, but I'm withholding information, remember.
I heard all due respect.
Okay.
A lot of it is music, but I can't... It's like so...
Yeah. It's very quick. It's very quick. I like all
Right.
due respect, though. It's pretty vague, but it definitely... When did you hear that? Just now, or was that...
No, like maybe a minute ago.
Okay.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I want you guys to interrupt me. So far we have 2.6 out of yours, right? And this is where we heard respect. Let me check the word list to kind of see where we're at with things. Basically, we need to be following you because you're going to know where the hotspots are. So let's talk about your REM pod for a moment. Go ahead and pull up your antenna. Flip the device. Oh, here. Okay. Oh, look at that. You see it?
No. Oh, okay.
We have Eliza's name has already popped up. So,
Huh.
and the word pride right after that.
Wow.
How long have we been here?
Maybe 3 minutes.
Because the word Africa showed up at 9, this says 9:20. It's 9:27 right now. So again, I told you the slave quarters were in the back. Kind of a vague relation. I'm going to see if something else pops up around that because I normally can't, I can't prove anything about the slaves other than where they lived back here. I can't prove names or what their jobs were or anything like that because there's no records. But if something else pops up, I'll be pretty impressed, like if it actually gives me the word slave or servant or any of those kind of terms out of either spirit box that we're actually using. But I'm obviously excited about, this is me excited, so in case you guys couldn't tell. Eliza and pride showing up because Eliza was a very proud woman. But again, I'm going to put pride as kind of a vague term, but the name Eliza showing up is obviously something very definitive. So we'll kind of see what's going on. To turn the device around, there's a little flap on the back. You're going to lift it up this way. There's two little white, nope, you want to keep looking at the back. There's two little white buttons back there. The one on the right is the one that you want. So go ahead and click it into the device. There you go, perfect. Now flip it around slowly, because it's super bright. You just had it at 8.3, I saw that. Now, that's going off based on your movement, so that's kind of a false positive. We want to kind of try to get rid of those. So here's how we get rid of them. Whenever it's going to go off based on your movement, there's a way to reset it. There's 4 buttons where your thumb is going down the spine there. You need the bottom one, so kind of keep your thumb right on the bottom one and click it every time it goes off. If it goes back to the same color after you stop and remain still, obviously we've debunked that it's not coming from your motion, so go ahead and click it now. Perfect. So you kind of see where I'm going with that. We want to try to get rid of all of those. You just moved again. No, you're fine. I want you to move. I'm not going to have you stay still all night long. But it's going to go off with your movements. That's because we're not setting it on a table and walking away. Right. But basically what happened is we just created another EMF field around this antenna, a different style, so it's not being measured on your red screen. So they work independently. It's not going to measure the other one. You might have a reading here and not here and vice versa. I also like to use the colors as kind of a call and answer. If you notice, there's different colors in between there. I like to use blue and purples. You see all those different colors in there? Yeah. Blues and purples mean that they don't have to touch it and make it go red. That just means, hey, Liza, can you make this box go to blue? And if we get a direct answer, we reset it and ask again. If we get the same answer, try a different color. Just the kind of thing, just to prove what we actually have going on. So you got an 8.3, which I've already written down. How's the camera work going? Is that camera still working? Is still running? Good. Obviously yours is still running. I know that thing's fantastic. So it starts to lock up and freeze in an hour. That's why we stopped it earlier before that. But that's kind of crazy readings you have going on there. Any other numbers popping up on your screen?
Just 2.1.
2.1. So
Thank you for being a friend.
Wow. What? That was from a TV show.
Yeah.
Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls, yeah.
Wow. We all just showed our ages right there.
Is that the original entrance?
It is not. So
Where would the entrance have been?
the entrance actually would have been slightly left of that. This wall was from a restaurant that was here in the early 2000s called Molly Darcy's. So again, what we're looking at right now, they've never done an archaeological dig here, so there's nothing that should be making this device go off. But we do capture a lot of spirit box work here, and we get a lot of the motion work here as well. So I've seen this particular device go, and it was just last week, go all the way to 214 milligauss.
Wow.
What does that mean for you? Your television set gives off about 40 to 60 milligauss behind the TV where all the wires are. Your microwave running on high, and you standing next to it is about 150. This gave me a 214.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nuts.
That's a lot of
That's
energy.
like, it's dangerous. And the person using it was fine. Like, I stood back just because I have epilepsy and I don't need anything altering things because
Right.
it can have that effect. But again, I kept checking in with him. He was perfectly fine. We only had that one super spike and then it went away. I double checked to make sure he knew it wasn't 21.4, you know, but he was like, no, it was a 214 point something. He's like, there were 4 digits on the screen. So I
Wow.
checked the settings to make sure it wasn't something he may have hit, just to double check. And like, again, I've never seen it go that high. The highest I'd ever seen it go was 198. So my assumption was that it only went to 200.
Patience.
Oh, yes, patience is definitely good. See, you're getting the hang of it. You're gonna get better. But we're gonna follow you. So let's go find a hot spot.
Right in the middle of the forehead.
So forehead is like a weird term you would hear on the radio. So that's what I'm focused on right now. Do I know anything about the forehead and the pinkies? I don't, but I don't know everything there is to know about the pinkies. So it's a matter of, I gotta do a lot of research. Yep, yeah, let's see what numbers you can actually pop up with. We're gonna stick with them.
Very quick, because they're on the screen.
I just try not to go in. And we're actually fortunate. So I want to go with anything above that 8.3 at this point.
Is it okay that it started?
Yes, so what it's doing is those files are giant. So basically it's just starting a new file because it's only going to go to 4 gigs. So, yeah, you're fine.
Okay, the footage, where'd it
Perfect.
go?
Yep, you're good. You're perfectly good. Actually, I'm sorry, I should have...
Deceptions, I think it's a.
Oh, it's usually your first instinct. Whatever you think it heard is what we're going to go with. Deception.
Wow.
And again, the cameras aren't always a great real-time event, but again, if we're not recording, if I don't put some hands on it, we're not going to capture anything. You guys can film each other. That'd be great. Super cute, right? Eliza, do you want to tell us what happened to your mansion? Can you tell us what actually happened here? Yeah, nice slow movement. You're doing a great job. You gotta get Cameron to slow down. She's like, I'm over here. I'm over here. She's so stoked. Look at her. You had no idea that she was filming?
She had no idea.
Nice. Good on you, man.
Yeah.
Good on you. That's so cool. I love being the surprise. Do you want to try having a spirit box in your ear while you're handling that? Because I have another one just like that. It just won't record.
Let's do it.
Okay. Just because you're so stoked and you have a hoodie pocket, so you can almost keep it in your hoodie pocket and keep an earbud in and play with the volume back and forth. That's actually not that Susan's doing a bad job, and you're doing like the easy work. Let's get another one. Just go.
Disaster.
Like that one. What kind of disaster was it, Eliza? So to help you out, I will undo the twist tie. I buy these in bulk. I don't want them back. Earwax is so gross.
Yeah.
So,
I know the camera's right there, so I don't
Sharon
want
is
to say
caring.
anything. Because I know it's going to pick up only my voice.
Your volume button is right here. It's the wheel, so you can turn it up and down as you
Okay.
want. There's your earbud. So slide one of those in, and then you can
Am I giving you only if I get to 8?
Yeah, anything above 8 at this point. Let's escalate it so that way I don't have to write down a trillion numbers. And again, you're listening for radio stations. It's all of that little mess that you're hearing. Look at her wandering by herself. See, she was supposed to be the scared one.
What?
I said, look at her wandering by herself. She's supposed to be the scared one. Or not knowing anything that's going on. It's right next to you, Yolanda.
Fire.
That's it. You had disaster, so you got the direct answer.
What'd she say? Fire?
Fire.
What happened with the fire?
What year did that fire happen, Eliza? Can you give us the exact year, please?
Sunday night.
If the date was a Sunday,
I just got Sunday too.
Nice.
I'm going to look up to see if it was a
Manage
Sunday.
the team.
That can still be related to Big
Yeah.
John. That happens all the time. I am going to shit a brick if that date is
On a Sunday.
I know the exact date.
Victim.
No, Wednesday.
Mm. What happened on Sunday, Eliza?
Urgent announcement.
It smells good out here, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Give it another minute just so she can see if she can pick up anything else. Since you pretty much got the good gist of how it works. And then I'm going to give you
The
guys.
summer. And a lot of people, just laughter, continuous. It was ha 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 ha, like long laughter.
Okay. I've gotten laughter here as a disembodied voice in the past. Like it went over 5 different radio stations. Like was not radio chatter kind of mentality. So it's a possibility. But yours is not recording. So I can't verify it. Very interesting. She did hear urgent announcement and then you get a lot of laughter. So I can look in to see what some of the dates are that I know specific about this location and see if it actually was a Sunday night, like birthdays, death days, that kind of thing, to see if something actually occurred.
I did ask what happened on Sunday.
There was something before it, but I couldn't. It was kind of. Keep going. Oh,
We are standing in a certain state orders. Diversity rules, right?
Emotional.
Emotional came up on my word list too.
Big three.
Okay, got it. How much? Let's head over there.
Sorrow.
A lot of vague stuff going on here. So I'm going to call it at this point. So, Floyd, go ahead and stop your video. We're going to give your hands a break. So go ahead and
Alright, that's looking out. It's the same. It's not a DJ. I guess a radio talk show host.
listening.
And it's the same one that laughed. So it's like they're choosing this one channel, and I don't know why. It's the same guy. And Risk. Not a good word. Not a good word.
Stop here. For those of you with cameras, you don't need to necessarily point it on me. You want basically some kind of angles, either one way or the other. Obviously, if people start cutting through, that's when you're going to do your angles.
Same
coming.
angle.
Right.
Have at it.
You turn around.
I already did it. So we have the name Thompson that actually popped up that you heard. Did you hear anything else?
Not real. Well, no, not really. I mean, no.
Okay. Any names out of yours? When we crossed the last crosswalk over by High Cotton Restaurant, that's where the original Charlestown walls used to be. So Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. This is one of the first streets we ever had. So we don't spend a lot of time here because it is considered a quiet area. There's little signs all over the place. That's because you guys are leaned against the hotel. Somebody could be in those rooms. I try not to disturb anybody. So again, I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived here. How you doing tonight, man? All right. So the names that I commonly get out of here, Benjamin and John. Every 6 to 7 weeks, those two names particularly come up. And we're already having this week, and this is week 6 and 7, like we're right in the middle of it. The interesting thing is that the name Simmons also came up along with Ben. Now this used to be called Simmons Alley before it was Lodge Alley. And explain why it was Lodge Alley here in Albany. But here's where things get weird. So Benjamin and John both lived here in 1801. When I say people lived here, I'm not talking like dozens of little houses down here. I'm talking like 4 to 6 people at a time. So Benjamin and John living here in 1801. It's 2 out of 5 people that I hear the same names every 6 to 7 weeks. Now, if we're ever confused, because there were 4 different Johns that lived here over like a 70-year span, 4 different Johns, we'll get the last name for John, which was Johnson. John Johnson will show up. So we'll get one or the other. So again, I can't make this stuff up. I don't have any crazy happening that happened here in 1801, but I do have an explanation of why we're actually hearing the same names over and over again. We're standing on Belgian blocks. Bricks are made straight of granite. Now, you guys all seem like you're into paranormal, except for Yolanda, but you've heard the term limestone before, I'm sure. Limestone is said to be stirring things up in a paranormal activity type of sense, because it comes straight from the earth. So does granite. These bricks have been here for a couple of hundred years.
Mount Pleasant. Well, we're here.
Yeah, Mount Pleasant is just north of here. But again, these bricks have been here for a long time. They're hanging on to the consciousness and memories and playing it back for us. So every 6 to 7 weeks, I can't find an exact pattern. I can't tell you it's going to be 54 days. I can't tell you what the moon phase is supposed to be. It just keeps happening every 6 to 7 weeks. So next week, obviously, Monday, Tuesday, I'm going to start that loop over again because I've already gotten Benjamin and John this week, along with Simmons. You know, so it's very interesting that I keep getting the same stuff over and over again. Every once in a while, a third name will pop up. The name is Jane. Lately, a David will show up. So far, that's 4 out of the 5 people that lived here. That's pretty good odds. Before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge down here, hence the name Lodge Alley. So again, we do get terms around the Freemasons, including the term Illuminati. I have to chuckle because first off, who the hell's talking about the Illuminati on the radio? And second, why am I only hearing it while I'm in this space? And it's not on any kind of loop, it's just completely random. Last year alone, I think we heard it 6 times while we were in here, the term Illuminati, and this year we've already heard it twice. So again, I keep track of this crowd because again, nothing makes sense until I keep studying it. The people that lived here, they did do an archaeological dig on some of the artifacts from those people that lived here. They found tools and clothing and that kind of thing, classified these people as lower class. It makes sense because across the street on East Bay, from where we were walking, would have been the other side of the wall going down towards the battery. The smell of low tide would be coming down here quite often. So with that said, if you've never smelled low tide, I think everybody here is from a coastal state, am I correct? So yeah, you guys smell low tide. The rich people of Charleston aren't going to put up with that. If you've been down to the battery, you've noticed the houses are skinny in the front and go long back. There's a couple of reasons for that. First off, you were taxed based on how much street side you took. The skinnier the house, the less taxes. Makes sense. The Pinckney Mansion sat broad. First off, they're indigo farmers and they're politicians. They have money, they don't give a shit. So they want the bragging rights to show off the house. The other reason is because it keeps the smell of low tide out. The skinny house with the piazzas on the front porches with the door on it keeps that smell from coming in. They open up the second story window to let the cool breeze come in, and it cools the whole house down because cool air drops, heat rises. So again, it's old school air conditioning. I like to at least stall here a little bit as we're just getting some recording footage because again, this isn't a space where we can ask questions. We're waiting for something to happen among the spirit boxes, or of course some kind of anomaly going on with the cameras.
Going on. Do I have to push the button?
No, we're good because you're going to get stuff from the building. So if you do get a spike, it's kind of usually debunked pretty quickly. I have had some weird spikes down here.
24.
24?
And before that, I heard forefathers. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I
Well,
promise
this
I
is
won't.
Lodge Street.
I promise I clean my ears every day.
Forefathers and 24. Interesting. Oh, the name Thompson, I'm almost positive it was on that word list somewhere, on the resident list. Yeah, I don't want to say it's an AC one, it might be, but I'm going to definitely say Thompson sounds very familiar. So the next space we're actually going to go to, we're going to cut through the rest of this alley, but it is residential at the end. So once we exit, the two of you will cut off your video. That would be the circle button on the top, so that way I don't have to keep doing it for you. And then of course you've already figured yours out, but we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood and we don't record in neighborhoods. So again, you'll listen to your spirit boxes along the way, but we're going to be going to another alley. However, I can't take you through it like what we're doing now. Here's why. I got booted out. You guys joined the annoying group with the blinky lights and noisemakers, and it is considered residential at the end. We're allowed to tour through it halfway, but every tour in Charleston goes down there in groups of 20. It's not fair for my groups of 10 to be working around 20 to 40 people. So again, I tell the story outside of it, just because it still stirs up a lot of activity, and we're going to hear from that particular story through the remainder of the night. It's pretty much been a guarantee for the past 3 months that it just keeps going. Like last night, it just literally kept going all night long. It was crazy because everything we heard at the last stop wasn't a pirate, it was all about the story from the alley. So again, you can always go back and look at other tours if you'd like. Oh, by the way, which I was going to tell you earlier, is your data stays on my website for an entire year. So again, I don't hide anything. If you want to go back and see a specific date, if I had a tour that night, it'll be posted, and it's all there. Sometimes it might have different links and things, the same stories I told, because something else popped up during that specific
Christian and Christian.
Double names are very ironic here. So I just told you about John Johnson. There was also an Alexander. So again, double names are very weird here. It's very awesome. So I say we cut through the rest of this alley and go to the next alley.
And honestly, there's more really heavy static sound here than there has been.
Interesting. Are you hearing anything on yours? Have you had the volume up? Okay. I figured as much. She is so excited. You see the excitement all over her face. So, again, I love being a surprise. So, let's cut through the rest of this alley.
You're getting more words.
I don't know. It's just like almost more like
Interference.
Yeah.
So she's
It's
not
not
getting
just
the
white
reception.
noise. It's like like that.
So at the end of the alley, I turn it off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go easy on me, baby.
Everybody see?
Yeah.
I'm the one with the goofy shoes on, so I feel every brick. alley is the reason why I go through so many shoes. So broke. Want to get some footage of down that alley. Remember, the other tour groups didn't sign up for this. We did. Right. So again, you want to point that at the alley, Floyd. Just be kind of casual. It'll be good. You don't need to necessarily be, up in the air with it. So this is the Philadelphia alley behind me. It's easy for me to remember because that's where Eliza Pinckney is buried, in Philadelphia. But it used to be called Dueler's Alley. We named it Philadelphia Alley after dueling became illegal and stupid, and obviously we needed to name it after a city that helped us out of one of our many, many fires that I mentioned earlier. So we know it is Philadelphia Alley now, but we all tell the story of one specific duel because we can prove it. It actually happened. So here's how it goes. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because his fiancée Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks the doctor is just after her money. He tells her to get rid of the doctor. To prove that he's not after her money, Dr. Ladd moves to Charleston. As he's coming into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody walking by, his name was Ralph Isaacs. That's where I stopped. Ralph Isaacs has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. Oftentimes we'll get the letter R, which we've already gotten about a block away, and or RI, but I need that secondary clue, so I need to know who it belongs to. I'm telling you the two main characters, Rhode Island doctor, Ralph Isaacs the attorney. So again, it's a crazy thing, and I'm only stopping and telling you so much because it's already occurred. So again, it happens all the time. But anyway, so Ralph says, dude, you don't want to stay here. He's got a gunman inside that's trying to kill you and take all your money. But I have some friends that'll rent you a room at 59 Church Street. That's actually the next block we're going to.
$10?
I don't know. It very well could have been. Is that what you heard? $10? Remind me to write that one down. That's pretty cool. I like that. That's something for me to research. I love learning new stuff. So anyway, he says you can rent that room and you'll be safe. He takes him up on the offer, Doctor and Ralph, and become friends. The doctor's practice begins to take off. He's making his own money. Amanda's moving down soon. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Every haunted city you will ever visit has a cliched haunted, or like whistling ghost. Ours is a doctor. Just go with it. It works here. So, it's a joke. You're supposed to laugh. Anyway, him and Ralph go see plays together, but they cannot sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. The hierarchy of Charleston gives him better seats. So they talk about these plays on the way home. One night they go see William III from Shakespeare, and on the way home they're discussing the new actress. The doctor thought she was fantastic. Ralph, not so much. They start arguing. Then it gets even uglier when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée Amanda back home in Rhode Island. They go their separate ways. But Ralph is from here. He has friends. At the newspaper, he puts an ad in a paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. The doctor sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. Somebody's going to die. They come down, they take their 10 paces. You heard $10. Again, your spirit boxes will pick up words before and after. So again, I like it. So they take their 10 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel. It's not always a dead guy at the end. However, Ralph still has his one shot. He puts it in the kneecap. Sorry, Ralph. You're the one right in front of me, Floyd. So he puts it in the kneecap, and the doctor doesn't die. He drops to the ground. His friends pick him up. They carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later. There's the number again. Damn it. I can't believe I didn't catch that the first time. So he dies after refusing medical treatment. He's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed it out himself. So they say as you walk through this alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. I used to take my groups all the way through to listen for the whistles on the regular voice recording. But I just told you why I don't go down anymore, but I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit further. I want to say that the doctor died in November. The term November is on my spirit box word list right now. Do I know if it was November 11th? I don't know that for certain, but 11 showed up 3 to 4 words before that. So again, I can't make this shit up. It is what it is.
November's the 11th month, though.
It is, but it would be very interesting if, so there's November, and there's the number 11. So, November and 11.
Wow.
Again, I'm going to, and jury just showed up, circle. Maybe there's other terms I'm missing. Jury, circle, advice, branches, festival. Panel. Yeah. I like November 11th. Like, that sounds like a very specific date.
Yeah.
So I'm all about that. I love that kind of stuff. Not to mention, it's definitely going to give me something to research. And if that thing costs $10, I'm going to shit my pants. I'm just going to say. At home. In front of everybody to see. So, my shoes won't be brown. Now.
They were so expensive, don't you?
I know, right? I already got enough rocks in them. So, here's how I got kicked out of here. Because this is the fun part. This alley didn't come all the way through. So, there was kind of a wall blocking it. So, that means that those bricks on the other side are a lot older. So, I used to show off those older bricks all the time because it's actually part of our history. Those bricks actually have their sun-dried bricks from slave children. They were actually literally turned to bake them. We do have one full handprint in one of those bricks and fingerprint swipes in those bricks that I used to show off. Everybody wants to put a spirit box or an EMF detector or something near those bricks. I treat that thing like I do a grave. That kid's not staring at the brick in the afterlife. I guarantee you that. One night, November 26th of 2020, everybody wanted to do that exact thing. However, it was outside the gentleman's dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of this alley. He come out screaming. My daughter thought it was fantastic because Dad's getting yelled at. He wants to see my tour guide license, all this mess. So we keep going, and I do the rest of my tour. It was a crazy night. The next day was Thanksgiving. That's why I remember the date so specifically. It was November 27th. I didn't have a tour. I'm the new guy on the block. I'm not working, full-hearted yet. But November 28th, I get a phone call from the tourism office asking me if I would only go down halfway, like what we're allowed to, or reroute my tour. I decide I'm going to reroute the tour. Again, I'm the new guy. I'm a good storyteller. I don't know enough about this pirate thing. I'm not even a pirate guy. I didn't even believe the story. I'm a vampire guy, through and through. So I'm like, damn it, pirates. Let's see what happens. Before I even mention the story, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't even mention who I was going to be discussing yet. So I'm like, all right, we might actually have something. Later on, somebody hears the number 300. I don't know what the hell that means. Same way about the 10 until I started telling the story. I go home and do the research. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th, 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her trial. That is stuff I cannot make up. That is a crazy space. Now, I tell you, like, the last space we're going to be hitting is a hit-or-miss location. We're either going to get a ton, like kind of all the clues we already seen, or we're not going to get anything. I hate to end a tour that way, but at least now you know the patience it takes to actually do this, to be able to find things. We're doing mini investigations. But the next spot we're going to go to in between is going to be close to St. Philip's Church, and I'll kind of see what's going on with your guys' spirit boxes, so I definitely want you listening in. So let me know what you hear along the way, and once we get there. If you guys don't hear anything relevant to one of the 15 stories on that corner, I'll go to my normal go-to stories just to kind of move things along and get us ready for the big pirate ending, and then we'll go deep dive into Anne Bonny. Is that fair? Again, sometimes I'll let the evidence lead the way, because sometimes it's stronger than what I need to tell. So let's go see what happens. Turn up those spirit boxes. Let's do this. It's all about you. Video cameras, if you want to continue recording, you can. If you want to stop, you can stop. Whatever you want to do. Have some fun. You guys know what you're doing, yeah? All right? Fun, fun. Yeah, I'm in charge, because I'm not doing anything. I get to walk around.
A lot of church music.
Oh, yeah.
And my pride.
I'd like to stop here first before we do anything else, just because I like to point out this courtyard. That's the wall back there of Philadelphia Alley that we were just discussing. So there's a gate right in the middle of it. There's a reason for that gate. Remember that the alley didn't go all the way through, so in the event that there was a loser to the duel, meaning a dead guy, that was a shortcut to get to the cemetery behind me. Otherwise, they'd have to go all the way down to Queen Street and come around with the dead body, and it would basically drag on before they could go celebrate with the winner. So again, it was a shortcut. I call that the death gate. It does have a wrought iron gate on it now, and it's always locked. But that's the reason why that gate is there. Not many people actually know that. So I can't even remember where the hell I found that little fun fact, but I love it. It fits perfectly here, right? So have a seat, and you guys can tell me what you guys have been hearing, what we got going on. So we're going to chill here for just a few minutes. So have you heard anything?
35 was really loud and clear. I don't know if that's relevant.
I don't know either, but we're going to find out. Anything coming up on yours? Okay. All right, so every tour stops at that particular gate. Every single ghost tour except for mine. I let them have it. You guys have all of the gizmos and gadgets. I let them have their one big finale over there. So here's why they all go up there. I like to point out a few things about the cemetery first. So this is St. Philip's Cemetery. There's two different sides. There's an eastern side and a western side. If you're from Charleston, you can get buried on this side. Charles Pinckney, Eliza's husband, is over here, just so you know, because he's from here. So John Calhoun is not from here. He's buried across the street. They didn't know if he was actually supposed to be on either side, but he's been shuffled. But he ended up that he's not from here, so he went to the other side. The western side is usually open for tourists and the public because the vice president is actually over there. So again, I like to at least point out that there are two different sides of the cemetery. They're all telling the same story because it's wrapped around the sign right inside the cemetery. It says there's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost. There's a reason for that. Notice over the cemetery there's a light. You can see all the tree branches and all that over there. It's pointing directly at that sign because they don't want people like us, what we're doing, to be able to recreate what actually happened. So here's what happened. 1888, a young lady dies by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. Now we just talked about initials and how important they are. Sue Howard Hardy. Sue Howard Hardy. Cheesy, campy, I know, but it works here. And I've heard it and seen it for myself. Sue loves to give me her initials. So if I call her Susan, by the way, she will correct me on a spirit box somewhere. Like, my name is Sue. Like, it'll come out very, very clear. But she dies 6 days after her stillborn child. So very abrupt ending, yes, I know. But in 1987, a local photographer is taking pictures of our cemeteries. He's putting a book together. He captures a full apparition. So,
Lots of church music.
Yeah.
Do you have dollars?
Not yet, I don't.
Single ladies only.
Oh, that's interesting.
Lots of church music.
That single ladies only might actually be... Damn. I'm going to wait for another clue to see if I need to tell that story. But anyway, so the photo that he captures, you know, it's 1987, so he doesn't have the tech that we have now to be able to debunk what's going on. So he sends it to Kodak. I don't think I have to explain what the hell Kodak is to this group, which is really nice. So Kodak doesn't know what to do with this picture either. So I'm going to show you the photograph because that's their big finale. Now it is cursed to females, so I will tell you that. So please do not touch the tablet. So when I bring it out, the curse is basically you'll get the same symptoms like what we talked about at the beginning. So the headache, the nausea, the dizziness, that kind of thing. In the event that there is a link that I have to prove of something you guys heard or something I caught in real time, like while we're during review, it will say warning cursed photo on the link. So that way nobody opens it by accident. You don't even want to handle it on a digital format like a tablet or a phone. So just kind of keep that in mind. Pregnant females are probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the story. I'm not going to be the guy where somebody had a great vacation and 9 months later I cursed their family. So
Real family life, married.
Mary? The name
Married.
Oh, married. So this is the full photograph, so everybody can kind of see it. Here's your apparition.
God.
You're looking at her
Holy
back.
shiitake mushroom. I
That's
see it.
her grave. You can see the baby basket next to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, again.
Hi, it's me.
This is what he captures.
I don't believe it.
But again.
No, that's what I'm hearing.
I know. I know you're repeating whatever you're hearing. But you can imagine, like, with him catching this in 1987, how that would have...
She's like hunched over, right?
Yeah, she's praying
Over.
her own grave.
With the baby basket.
Right. And this is probably another instance where the baby's buried with the mother, just so you know.
Damn, I like
Fresno. What the heck was that?
So, very interesting indeed. So again, I let every other ghost tour have that one, just because, you know, our cameras can actually penetrate through it, but I don't have any actual footage of anything that's ever occurred up there. So let's get your mindset on pirates before we go deep dive into Anne, because we got to get Yolanda back to work. She's been out of the game for a while.
Yay!
So, do you guys
$500.
do you guys
Start laughing.
Stay close.
We're going to stay close to each other for sure. So, do you see the burning gas lamp off in the distance? It's kind of a flickering orange light. So that's the pirate house. So the Pirate House it has a big anchor on the front of it. You can't miss it when you're walking around town. Somebody does live there. Don't go in his backyard either looking for ghosts. He also gets mad. Don't ask me how I knew all of these things. But I do go hunting a lot. But anyway, that's where Blackbeard's men actually came off their ships. They had a place to stay. And obviously met with some few ladies. And they dug a tunnel underneath that house going over to Dock Street Theater 1 block away. The reason for it is because Dock Street Theater at the time was called Planters Hotel. It was a whorehouse, a playhouse, and a hotel. Obviously the whorehouse was an attraction, but
Scared.
pirates were our first stagehands. So they would go over there to work in between bartering with the locals. That tunnel was just been filled in the 1990s. Yeah, so it wasn't a myth or a legend. The myth around that place is that Blackbeard actually buried some of his treasure there. I call bullshit because we all know that treasure is in North
Won't
Carolina.
have a baby.
What did it say?
Won't have a baby.
Oh shit, I like that. Now I have to give you a link.
It was rap, by the way. It was rap. It was from a rap song. I don't know who was singing.
I don't care. It was the lyric. All right, I'll take it.
Contact a medical provider. Loud and clear.
We're going to turn yours down. So let's go ahead and turn both
Okay.
volumes down because the next story, if I don't get through it because it is a little lengthy, you guys are going to keep interrupting.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
we're going to let you interrupt after I give you all the history of that location.
Okay.
So let's get you guys up off your butts. Okay, you're the only two that sat down. What does that say? No, I'm kidding.
We're old.
When do you want to start? You want to have me record again?
You can start recording anytime at this point.
Okay.
Rest of the night is up to you.
Watch your step.
I thought I was going to be talking a lot tonight. You guys are all talking. That's awesome. See? That's my job is to talk, but to get you guys to talk as well. So let's get into this one. This one's a little crazy. So we're going to be discussing that little tiny building up there with the crosses on it. Those are not crosses, those are earthquake holes. Just behind those is that they're turnbuckles. If we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, which we have not, you can turn those turnbuckles slowly, day by day, and it'll straighten the building back up. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So the reason I bring these up is because it's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston actually put in. This is the gunpowder magazine. So it was finished in 1713. It is the oldest government building in South Carolina. So you guys have probably seen earthquake bolts all over town. They're usually decorated as pineapples and lion heads and a bunch of stupid Charleston charm stuff to keep you guys coming in. I did say that out loud, right? I should be the reason you keep coming in, not the pineapples. But the reason why we're going to talk about this building is because it's a familiar. It's kind of like using a toy to attract a child ghost. So this building, I told you, is the oldest government building in South Carolina, which is the same time frame that Anne Bonny actually spent time in South Carolina. So again, this is here because it's familiar. That's why we're here. We talked about the Charlestown walls earlier. I brought them up on purpose because where that garage sits across the street is where the wall stood. It went up past the powder magazine, just past it about half a block, and started going south behind me towards the battery. It locks it into the corner on purpose. If it gets attacked from a Revolutionary warship or a pirate ship from 3 blocks away, those cannonballs are going to have a hard time getting through the 32-inch thick walls to blow up the gunpowder. We're going to pretend that it does and it blows up the gunpowder. There's sand in the roof from the early 1700s that's supposed to blow up in the air and fall to put up the fire of the gunpowder. It's another great idea, but that doesn't work either. We had another powder magazine closer to the battery. It did get struck because it's closer to the water. Sand went up, building burned to the ground, it no longer exists. This one's just never been attacked. This one served in 7 different wars, including the Civil War. That was its last servant, just so you guys all know. I love this building. And again, this is a story I didn't even believe in, but I had a season pass here just because they get books from local authors quicker than Amazon. I don't know how they were doing it, but if I needed a reference, this is where I was coming. So if you ever need to get out of the heat or the cold when you guys come back to Charleston, this is a good $5 to spend. So I'm not an advocate for them, I just love the building. So let's get into why we're here. The building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. I'll answer for you. So our story begins in 1708, right in the middle of its construction. So follow me, there's a lot of twists and turns. That's why I have you turn your spirit boxes down. Young lady moves here named Anne Cormack from Ireland. She comes here with her father and his mistress. You with me so far? The mistress is her mom. Still with me? The 3 of them are running away from his wife. Okay, how pissed was she? Just putting it out there. They land in Georgetown, just north of here. Dad buys a plantation, mom dies pretty quickly. That means he has to send young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. Now, young Anne back home in Ireland was kind of a badass. They say she killed one of her servants when Anne was about 10 or 12 years old. It's speculation. Again, this is piracy, nothing super accurate, with a knife to the belly. So, again, keep that in mind as we're going through the rest of the story. We're going to fast forward. Building was done in 1715 pirates are coming through town. Anne's pretty stoked. Now, she falls in love pretty quickly. Guy number one, named James Bonny. You can already see where this is going because we've already mentioned her name prior in the tour. So, Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormac becomes Anne Bonny, your most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. However, James Bonny, her new husband, is not who she thought she was marrying. This is not Jack Sparrow like she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy for the British. He's a coward in her eyes. This is not who she wants. She falls in love again a few years later. Guy number two. His name is John Bracken, a.k.a. Calico Jack.
Yes.
Much cooler name, has his own ship, and yes, this is the basis of Captain Jack Sparrow from the movies. So, Anne wants to be part of his ship, part of the crew, but you can't put a girl on the crew. Girls curse pirate ships. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, be part of, you can hide your gender, you can be a female in my quarters. He's the captain. That's how it's gonna go. She's alright with all this cross-dressing bit because Dad used to hide her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. So she said, whatever, I'm a pirate, let's go. But we're all adults here, we can put two and two together. Her being a female in the captain's quarters, she's eventually gonna get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's gonna figure out that she's obviously a girl. He drops her off in Cuba before she starts the show and says, these are friends of mine, they'll help you have the baby. You can come back later to the ship and we'll figure it out. Just panic attack, right? So she goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to this child. She's also dressed like a girl. This makes Jack pretty pissed off. Jack just captured another pirate crew while she was gone, giving birth to his first child. And they're all down below deck, and Anne's gonna go flirting to make Jack even more mad, because that's what Anne does. Guy number three. Guy number three turns out to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have two females doing the exact same thing on the same ship. Her name is Mary Reed. So Floyd must know this story because he keeps nodding his head like, yes, that's accurate, yes, that's accurate. So Mary Reed and Anne Bonny become friends, possibly lovers, we'll never know for certain, and Mary becomes part of the crew. The British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet after one pirate ship to come take them down. Anne and Mary are the only two not drunk enough to come up and fight with their one-bullet flintlocks. So obviously they're going to get taken. As they're being arrested, she looks at Jack, her captain and beau, and says, you should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog. So the word dog shows up here quite often on spirit boxes, just so you guys know. The judge, he wants to see the two men that fought back so valiantly all by themselves. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and his drunken sailors that would not come up and fight. So the two ladies go in front of the judge. His name was Nicholas Laws, like I said, so my name will pop up here from time to time. And again, there's three different Nicholases around this corner, so it's not uncommon to hear my name. But they reveal their gender as soon as they get in front. He doesn't care that they're female. He's still going to hang them because they're still pirates. We plead our bellies was the last thing they claimed, both claiming to be pregnant, hoping to save themselves. You cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he says fine. He sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still here in Charleston with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne. She comes home, marries again. Guy number 4, but husband number 2. Yeah, because she was always married to James Bonny this entire time, just so you all know. Has 4 children and dies at the age of 84. Again, another abruptly ended story with death. Mary Reed dies in 1721 from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. We don't know if either pregnancy that they claimed to have at court was actually true. And of course, with Mary Reed dying in the jail, use your imagination. I'm sure it was pretty nasty. I did leave out 2 things for spirit boxes that you can ask. It's not going to be a plethora of questions because this story has a lot of holes in it. I designed it this way on purpose. I left out the names of Anne Bonny's parents on purpose, so that would be the father and the mistress. I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. So again, you can ask any of those questions or anything else that you feel like you want to ask. If you get direct answers, I'll be writing them down, obviously. If you want to get footage of the front of the powder magazine, which means you have to leave the lot and make a left, you can do that. Just do not get in the way of other tours. I'm looking both this way because you guys have both cameras. Actually, I would prefer if you guys got some footage for everybody to kind of view. But they used to do investigations in the front of this powder magazine only for looking for Anne Bonny. I don't know whatever came out of it, but they don't do that anymore. Of course, tech has changed. I also told you at the beginning of this tour that people have passed out, and I kind of gave you that heated warning. Let me tell you why. And I've been doing this a long time, but back in September was probably the weirdest case because it's relevant to the story I just told you. I bring my team back here. It's about 7 or 8 people. The kid next to me goes white as a ghost, literally. and that his pun is intended because he was white as a ghost. I have to pick him up by his armpit, and his boyfriend picks him up on the other side, and we carry him over to that brick wall because there's a little stoop where he can sit down. I send the boyfriend over with a couple of dollars to get him a bottle of water, right? He comes back, the dude's feeling better. I then tell the story. It's important to know that they don't know anything yet. I send everybody out with their devices to go have fun. They pull me aside. We have to tell you something. We are 2 transgender males, meaning I had 2 females dressed as males on the tour. Just like Anne and Mary. Again, I'm a good writer. I can't make this shit up. Like, there's no way. Like, and they're perfectly fine with being part of my story every night. And again, it was a nice, cool night like this. They weren't overdressed. You know what I mean? I pay attention to that stuff. So, again, when I say white as a ghost, I've never seen anybody go that white. So he felt better. I called the paramedics that night, so thank the gods on that one. I've had to call the paramedics quite a few times, but that's why I give that heated warning. Because even back here, I do get a lot of people that say they get a little bit of heart palpitations, or they start to get a headache over here. There's a lot of things that go on in this corner of Charleston. So we are going to spread out. I'm going to go chill over there by that wall because that's where we're going to end. Again, this is a hit or miss. I'll know probably within the first few minutes of whatever you two are telling me on your spirit boxes. We definitely want to get your REM pod going. You're back to work. Woohoo! I will tell you that
Press the
yep,
button.
the closer you get to, we got the word raid. That's a piratey term if I ever heard one. You heard church bells earlier?
Yeah.
I have the word bell.
You've done so well.
It's also funny because we left Philadelphia Alley,
Right.
and I said we had the word jury. So
Yes.
2 to 3 minutes we would go over here. It literally says stop here, like where we would have stopped.
Right.
Just sometimes we'll get direction. It happens, and they know I always stop there anyway. And then the word bell showed up a few minutes after that. So very interesting. And it's all very vague. I'm just going to put that out there. It's all very vague. But again, when you start adding all of these things together, you can kind of see where the patterns go. But yeah, let's definitely turn those spirit boxes up. We're going to see what the closer you get to, and you're not on, you didn't click the white button.
$1,000.
The closer you get to those bushes in the corners of the lot, the more readings you're going to get because of the parking meters and the 2 electrical poles in the corners.
Yeah.
So don't get your hopes up.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm going to go chill over there by the wall. Let's get you guys some footage of the front while you're listening.
Cool.
Again, if other tours are up there, just kind of wait your turn. You guys have the crazy Ghostbuster gear, so they don't. Yeah, you'll literally, you can go over there, you can cut through the bush, or wherever you want to go. It's just a crazy list. So many vague terms.
There's a wall there.
$5 people transfer and the word Susan.
Susan's over there.
Do not seek. The glory of God. Where am I pointing?
The front of the building.
Will cost you.
What?
Anything crazy going on up there, Floyd?
Nothing. Nothing I can see at least.
Yeah. Again, wait till I give it to you on the big
Yeah.
screen. I'll add some crazy people walking and stuff so you have something. No, I'm kidding. I want you to.
She heard some stuff on the spirit box.
What do you got on that spirit box?
She heard the name Susan.
Okay.
3 weeks. I got the number 5 twice. The word Susan. The name Susan.
Okay. That's weird because she doesn't like to be called Susan. But we do have a Susan here. So a lot of times, even on the word list, what's weird is I will get nationalities and names of people for my next tour that'll show up all the time. Now last night it was really weird because the nationality of Palestinian showed up. So I was like, I'm looking at the names. I actually looked up your last name because I didn't recognize like what the origin might be. I'm like, it's definitely not Palestinian.
German.
Yeah, that's what I found out. So it was one of those weird things where I had to look into it just to see.
Right.
But we have a Susan on the tour. Last night we had a Tina on the tour, and it showed up on the word list. Again, it happens all the time. It's because you brought somebody with you. Again, I don't have another clue that Tina might. Something might be popping up around Susan. She actually heard my name loud and clear. And I'm going to explain more about Nicholas here in a moment, because like I said, there's 3 different Nicholases here. Between me, the Nicholas Laws in front of Aunt Bonnie, but there's also Nicholas Trott, because we're pretty close to his alleged cottage, which I'll get into that in a moment. But again, my name showing up here,
Yeah.
it's very common. Any other numbers by chance?
Not recent.
Okay. It's very odd. You heard 5 twice and not another number twice.
People transfer. That's what I heard a while. I said it, so I don't know if your camera is recording my voice,
I hope so.
but I did say some other stuff.
I'll be honest, when I watch, we're getting a lot of stuff about Sue, which is so weird. When I'm watching your videos, it's on mute, so I'm not distracted by it, so that way I can focus on what's actually there. Not to mention, I used to give the camera, this particular one, to the heckler of the group. just so I can hear all of their commentary and not tell them it was recording. Man, people say some mean shit. Holy cow, I stopped doing that. Like, it just brought my morale down. Like, nervous
Wow.
about the next group, like always. You know, with my epilepsy, I have anxiety that goes with that. So it's like, I stopped doing that because I'm here to have fun. You guys are here to have fun.
Right.
You know, when I'm watching your guys' videos, it literally, because I have earbuds to listen to the spirit box,
Friend.
and I just put them down on the desk so that way I don't have to hear the video.
I keep
There were
bleeding.
tears.
Tears?
Mm-hmm.
You keep what?
I keep bleeding.
I keep bleeding. We're getting a lot of things
It was
wrong
the
too.
song. It was the song.
It's a lot of Sue Howard Hardy stuff. It's all vague, but it all ties together if you think about it. The 3 weeks,
Yeah.
My Baby, the name's Susan. I keep bleeding.
And I'm the worst at remembering names. I can't forget a face. But I'm worse. So I didn't remember there was a citizen in our family. Like, so that was completely just, I just heard it.
Interesting. Yolanda go. Did we lose her? She had the fun. It's just so weird. Like, I thought she was going to be, like, huddled in with us the whole
Yeah.
night. She's been venturing off. It's funny. So obviously this was your idea to do this, but are you somebody that believes in all of this too, or are you the skeptic?
No, I guess that you could say I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have sensitives in my family.
Right.
I don't have one. I don't have
Yeah, that's what Yolanda just told me almost verbatim.
What?
That's what Yolanda just told me verbatim. Like, she has people in her family the same way.
Yolanda's my mom and my sister. Like,
That's
no,
her.
their
Their names.
It's crazy.
What?
Her mother's name and her sister's name is Yolanda.
Why do they have the same name?
And I have a lot of
It-
Spanish music
So
going
it's,
in and
it's
out.
like